Square, trying to get Commissioner Willie Simmons' headset all set up for him so he can speak and we can hear him. We appreciate you, Commissioner, for coming on the program today. How's it going, sir?
Gerard, it's going well. Like you, I'm enjoying this fair. This beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. One of a kind.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
No question.
No doubt about it. Like your shirts there. Got the MDOT logo. You, of course, serve as the Transportation Commissioner for the Central District of the great state of Mississippi, which includes my district as well. And we certainly appreciate your efforts there. You've spoken already today, right?
I spoke to the crowd, and hopefully they agree with most of the things I said.
Well, what's your message?
My message today is I came in 2019 and made promises. And in making those promises, I came back today so that they could do a report card on me and take a look at how well I may have done with the promises I made. And some of those promises was that we was going to work to get more money into the system. And this year we have a $1.4 billion budget, which is the largest we've ever gotten. Now, of course, we don't appropriate the money. That's done by the state legislature. So we are grateful and thankful to them for helping us get to where we need to be. The federal government sent us about $1 billion that we're going to get over the next 5 years. So when you combine the new money that we are getting, we are now in a position to start building capacity projects, $450 million worth of projects. And that was one of the things that we made a promise for, in addition to paving our highways. And we have taken the lottery money, some $80 million a year, and we have put in over $200 million into paving projects. So our total money in the Central District for paving projects since 2000 exceeds $450 million.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. $80 million from the Mississippi Lottery Corporation. That's on an annual basis, and anything over that goes to the Education Enhancement Fund. So we've hit that threshold in all 3 full years of operations. And then in the first year, 7 months of operations, has produced about $78 million. So that sounds like you've gotten about $200 million. Has come from the lottery. Yes, which adds up and can be used in a very valuable way, certainly across the whole state.
Well, you know, Gerard, when you was driving on our highways, prior to us getting those dollars, especially our 2-lane highways that had not been 4-lane or not been paved in 20 years, you was tearing up your cars. Yeah. It was unsafe. You were getting a lot of hydroplaning. So we're fixing those kind of things. So we're making our highways safer. And they look better, and they ride much better. Okay.
And then we've got a big pot of federal money that should be coming our way as well, right, with the passing of the Infrastructure Act, $1.2 trillion. And some of that was just reauthorization of existing funds, but about last I looked at, I think about $700 billion was new money. So we should be poised to receive some of that, right?
We are going to get about $1 billion of that over a 5-year period, which is going into our budget. Okay. And it allows us to do some of the things that we couldn't do, such as additional paving and maintenance and taking care of some of our bridges. We have spent over $100 million on our bridges during the last 4 years, in addition to what the state legislature is doing. When I was in the legislature in 2018, under Governor Brown's administration, when he called a special session, we put in place emergency road and bridge program, and we put $250 million in a bond bill. And since that time, the state legislature has continued to fund it at about $100 million a year.
Okay. And I think we could both agree that a good quality infrastructure is also a critical need in economic development. What do you hear? I know you work with some of the economic development folks across the district. What do you hear from them about the need for good, sufficient infrastructure to accommodate business growth and expansion?
James Earl Jones said in a movie a long time ago, fields and dreams, if you build it, they'll come. Yeah. And it's so true. And the local citizen, as well as the local leadership in our counties and municipalities, understand that if you don't have a good infrastructure system, you're not going to be able to attract or maintain existing businesses. So they advocate for. We work very closely with the governor's office, MDA, who is creating these mega sites. And when those mega sites are created, that's for industry to come into. We come in and support in building out the infrastructure system so that when the industry is courting and looking at Mississippi, we have a shovel-ready site, mega site, that those industries can come into. As we develop more of those, and we, Department of Transportation, work closer with MDA, you're going to see more sites throughout the state of Mississippi and more opportunities for us to recruit and maintain businesses.
I would argue, working in economic development, Commissioner, that top of their list typically is availability of qualified workforce. Number 2 is usually infrastructure.
No question.
Access to roads, bridges, and other forms of transportation as well. It's number 2 on the list.
Well, you can have all the money you want to put into a medical facility, a good school system, good economic development opportunities, but if you don't build the infrastructure, the people can't get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like that the 3 commissioners are aligned in that position? They all understand the critical need for that to grow our economy?
You know, I would say this, the Department of Transportation commissioners.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
We, Commissioner King and Commissioner Caldwell and myself, 2 Republicans, and I'm the Democrat.
Yeah.
We could be used as a model for this country on how to work together across party lines and getting rid of political partisanship to make things work, because those 2 Republican commissioners, along with myself as a Democrat, we never look at a project or a highway and say this is a Republican or a Democrat or an independent highway, so I can't support it. We look at a highway and we define what the needs are and what the advantages of bringing that particular corridor into the system, and we support it. If the rest of the country in Washington, D.C. and in Jackson, Mississippi would take a look at the 3 commissioners, Department of Transportation, and decide that they're going to work for the good of the citizen and the good of the state, we would have a much better political system.
And can't we add Director Brad White into that mix as well? He seems to be a person that doesn't really care about Republican, Democrat, just wants good roads and bridges for the state of Mississippi.
Brad White is a blessing to the state of Mississippi, and he is a king, I would say, for the Department of Transportation. He knows his role. He doesn't try to be a commissioner. But as the executive officer, I'm going to say Brad White is the best executive officer we have in the state of Mississippi at this particular time. Now, that may be a little biased in my saying that, but I say that because of Brad's ability, his knowledge, his experience, having been the chairperson or the executive director for Senator Cochran, Senator Hyde Smith, the governor, Tate Reed, and now being our CEO. He brings a tremendous amount of experience, but he's a humble person. He's a person who gets it, and he's a great leader for the professional staff that we have at the Department of Transportation.
He seems to always give credit to the team.
Exactly.
And not himself, and I respect that about him. All right, so tell me how the campaign's going.
Campaign is going. I'm running scared. I have a guy who is going to be my challenger in November as a Republican. But once again, that's the only label that I can put on him is he's a Republican candidate. But I'm working for the good of the citizens. So I'm asking all of the citizens in the district, 22 counties that I represent, both Republicans and Democrats and independents, to vote for Willie Simmons, who have done a tremendous job in working towards taking care of the promises that we made in 2019 and the promises we make going forward. So I would say the campaign is going well, but we got a long way to go. We're not going to take anything for granted. We're going to work hard over the next few months and win the election.
Do you feel like, Commissioner, that having served in your first term and the experience that you gained in that respect could be valuable to you in a second term?
Gerard, it is most valuable. I have 12 years of experience. I served as chairperson of the Transportation Committee on the Senate side for 8 years, having been appointed by Governor Reed when he was lieutenant governor to serve in that capacity, which gave me a wealth of knowledge and experience about the Department of Transportation, as well as the resources and the system as how it worked. And then having served as the commissioner, so going from a senator who's handling the budget and taking care of the policies in the Senate, and then coming to actually implementing and carrying out and allocating the money as opposed to appropriating it, has put me in a position that very few people can bring to the table and say they have that kind of experience in running for Transportation Commissioner. Also, I have a good network relationship with the counties, 22 counties that's in my district, the mayors that's in the district. So when you combine the relationships and the collaboration that we have put together, the relationship and cooperation that we have in working with the other 2 commissioners, the experience that I bring as a former senator, chairman of the Transportation Committee, and the 4 years experience as commissioner, I'm the person.
Is that going to be your message in the campaign when we lead up to the general election? When you face your
that is my message.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, Commissioner, it's always good to see you, sir. We certainly appreciate you coming on the program today and appreciate your insight and service to the state of Mississippi. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more.
Gerard, I look forward to it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Willie Simmons, Transportation Commissioner of the Central District, has been our guest on Middays. When we return, we've got a representative from the Mississippi Aquarium, either going to be Patrick Pearson or President and CEO Kurt Allen. Stay with us for that interview, please. We're in the Element Wealth studio. We're at Founder Square at Mississippi's giant house party. That's the Neshoba County Fair. Stay with us.